Long ago, deep in the countryside where time moved like a gentle river, there lived a boy who believed he was destined to fail. His name was Eli, and this is the story of how a simple rope changed his life forever. There was a small boarding school nestled between rolling hills and ancient forests. Children lived there with their teacher, learning not just from books, but from life itself. Every morning, before the sun fully rose, they would wake to the sound of birds singing. The air was crisp and clean, filled with the scent of wet earth and wildflowers. These children had a beautiful routine. They tended the garden with their small hands, carried firewood on their shoulders, swept the wooden floors until they gleamed, and sat together learning their lessons. Life was simple, honest, and filled with meaning. Among all these bright children was a boy named Eli. Eli had the kindest heart you could imagine. When someone fell, he was the first to help them up. When someone cried, he was there with a comforting hand. His smile could light up the darkest room. But despite all his wonderful qualities, Eli carried a heavy burden. He struggled terribly with his studies. While other children seemed to absorb knowledge like sponges soaking up water, Eli felt like he was trying to hold water in his bare hands. It simply slipped through his fingers. Reading letters felt like trying to decode an ancient language. The letters would dance and jump on the page. Understanding words was like trying to catch smoke, and remembering lessons, it felt completely impossible. He would repeat something 10 times, 20 times, 50 times, and by morning, it would vanish from his mind like mist disappearing in sunlight. No matter how desperately he tried, how many hours he spent staring at his books, nothing seemed to stick. The teacher was a kind and patient man with silver hair and gentle eyes. He noticed Eli's struggle immediately. Every evening after the other children had gone to play, the teacher would sit with Eli under the old banyan tree. "Eli, my child, try this way," he would say softly. He would show Eli the letters slowly, carefully, drawing them in the dust with a stick, trying every method he knew. But no matter what approach they tried, Eli still got confused. Sometimes, after hours of trying and failing, Eli would sigh so deeply it seemed like his soul was being pulled from his body. He would hide his face in his small hands, his shoulders shaking with silent sobs. The other children began to notice. Children can be cruel without understanding the weight of their words. During meals, he would hear whispers. During playtime, he would catch them staring and giggling. Then came the words that cut deeper than any knife. "You're so slow, Eli," they would say, their voices dripping with mockery. "You'll never learn anything. Why do you even try?" They would laugh, not understanding that each laugh was like a stone being thrown at his wounded heart. Eli felt ashamed, deep, crushing shame that made him want to disappear. Every hurtful word felt like a heavy stone being placed on his chest. Some days he wanted to hide in the forest and never show his face again. Months crawled by. Each day felt longer than the last. Eli watched with an aching heart as his friends moved forward. They advanced to the next class, their faces glowing with pride. They carried their new books with joy, discussing exciting new lessons. And Eli? He stayed behind, stuck in the same place, feeling like a tree that refused to grow while the forest around him reached for the sky. His heart felt heavier with each passing day. He wondered if he would ever be able to learn. One cool evening, as purple shadows stretched across the school grounds, the teacher called Eli aside. They walked together in silence to a quiet corner. The teacher's face was kind but sad. "Eli," he began gently, placing a weathered hand on the boy's shoulder. "I have tried everything I know, every method, every technique that has worked with countless students. But nothing seems to help you the way I hoped. Perhaps learning through books is not your strength. Maybe it's time for you to go home, to find what you're truly meant to do." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Eli's heart shattered completely. The teacher, the one person who had never given up on him, was now telling him to leave. Maybe he really was right, Eli thought, fighting back tears. Slowly, With steps that carried the weight of the world, Eli left the school. He didn't say goodbye to anyone. He just walked down the dusty path toward his village, toward a future that felt empty, feeling utterly defeated. Tears blurred his vision. His throat burned with the effort of holding back sobs. Every step felt like surrender. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and deep purples, Eli stopped by the village well. He needed water, but more than that, he needed a moment to collect himself. As he approached the well, something caught his eye. The stones around the well's opening were covered in deep marks, grooves worn into the hard surface. Curiosity flickered in his defeated heart. How did these marks appear on such hard stones? He wondered, running his fingers over the smooth grooves. An elderly woman sat nearby, her face lined with wisdom, her eyes kind and knowing. "Excuse me," Eli called to her. "These marks on the stones, how did they get here?" The woman smiled warmly. "No, my child," she said gently. "Look at this thin rope." She pointed to the rope hanging down into the well, used every day to draw water. "This simple rope rubs against these stones every single day. Every time someone draws water, the rope moves back and forth. One day makes no difference. One week makes no difference. But over months, over years, the soft rope has made these deep marks in the hard stone. The stone didn't give in easily, but the rope never gave up." Eli stared at the rope and the stone, his mind racing. He looked at the thin, humble rope that seemed so weak, then at the hard, solid stone that seemed unmovable. Yet the rope had won, not through force, but through consistency and patience. A spark of hope lit up inside his chest like a candle in a dark room. If a soft rope can leave marks on hard stone through constant effort, he thought, then maybe I can also learn if I try every day. Maybe I'm not hopeless. Maybe I just haven't tried long enough. That night, Eli couldn't sleep. He lay staring at the ceiling, his mind alive with possibilities. The image of the rope and stone played over and over in his mind. He made a decision that would change his life forever. He would not give up. He would return to that school and keep trying no matter how long it took. He would be like that rope, consistent, patient, and persistent. The next morning, as dawn broke, Eli returned to the school. The teacher was shocked to see him, his small face set with determination. "I want to try again," Eli said simply. "Please, give me one more chance." The teacher looked into his eyes and saw something different. He saw determination, hope, and unshakable resolve. The teacher nodded slowly, a smile spreading across his face. From that day forward, everything changed. Eli woke up earlier than anyone else. While other children were still dreaming, he was already sitting with the teacher, studying by candlelight. He studied with all his heart. Sometimes he still made mistakes. The letters still confused him. Sometimes he still forgot what he had learned. But now, instead of giving up, he asked questions. He practiced. He tried again and again. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Every single morning, without exception, Eli followed his routine. He carried firewood. He tended the garden, watching plants grow from tiny seeds. And then he sat for his lessons. He asked questions without shame. He wrote carefully. He repeated lessons over and over. And slowly, miraculously, small pieces started to make sense. One day, he could read a word, then a sentence, then a short story. His classmates watched in amazement. The boy who was once mocked was now the most persistent and focused student in the school. Some of them, feeling ashamed of how they had treated him, tried to help him now. Others began to admire his determination, seeing in him something they wished they had. Years passed. Eli's hard work began to show remarkable results. The boy who couldn't read a single word could now read entire books. The boy who couldn't remember simple lessons could now solve difficult problems. The boy who was once laughed at became confident, respected, and admired. Eventually, Eli grew into a wise and knowledgeable young man. His reputation spread beyond the school, beyond the village. He wrote important books filled with wisdom. He shared his learning with others who struggled. People came from far and wide to read his work and seek his guidance. But Eli never forgot where his true wisdom came from. He never forgot the lesson of the rope and the stone. That simple lesson taught him that consistent effort, unwavering patience, and unbreakable determination can overcome even the hardest obstacles. Success isn't about being naturally talented. It's about showing up every single day, even when it's hard, even when you fail. The path of wisdom isn't a quick journey. It's walked one small step at a time, with patience and persistence. Nothing is truly impossible when you practice with dedication and never surrender